Good morning and welcome to the Red Devils Roundup. And we're going to be covering the Man United Brentford game and also having a bit of a look back at the Aston Villa game and talking about the decision to keep Ten Hag on. So, yeah, Matt, what did you make of the game yesterday?
Yeah, I did have mixed feelings. I I guess part of me had hoped for a little bit more from the team, but then I suppose even when the stage when the team was announced, I was looking at it thinking, do you know what? It's maybe not the strongest team, but actually watching the game, yes, there was definitely uh, there's definitely big improvements that could have been done in the first half. But actually, by the time we got to the end of the game and, considering the result, I actually thought, let's take the positives out of it. We were much better, I thought, defensively. Um, I thought there was a couple of performances, I'd say especially Garnacho's for me, that, um, as the game kind of went on, we started to see a bit more of the guy who is really broken through last season. And it felt quite positive about it. I thought Brentford are actually quite a good outfit. I think they're doing quite well this season, and I thought we kept them quiet in a couple of areas. There was some guy telling me he felt that it could be 4-1, 4-0, sorry, to United, and I thought that was very optimistic. So actually, I thought 2-1 was a good result. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean at this stage it's literally a case of win by any means necessary, really, because they're short on confidence, and every win is going to start to increase that and start to build it. And when they lose games, it's going to cause a lot of damage. I thought the way they came back after coming 1-0 down was very impressive. I
Yeah,
think it did help that they could get straight in after the goal and um, Ten Hag could talk to them because one of the problems we have is conceding two goals close together. Seems to happen quite a bit. We'll
mm,
concede the first goal and then the heads drop and they get a second and it's game over. So I think the fact they could get straight in, Ten Hag could talk to them. They also obviously had this sort of perception of injustice about the goal itself and De Ligt being off the pitch. I didn't see any problem with it because it was clear that he had blood streaming down his head and you got to go off and get attended to.
yeah,
So I don't quite understand why the medical team hadn't addressed that properly in the first place. But yeah, I thought, I mean, after the first 10 minutes, I thought we were by far the better team for pretty much the rest of the game. Um, they did have a little bit of a rally when we went 2-0 up. We kind of sat back a little bit for the first 5 or 10 minutes after that, but generally, I thought we were the better team. I don't think we really looked like conceding when De Ligt was on the pitch. I thought we looked more solid defensively with Martinez on the left instead of Delo, and I thought Delo, although he was responsible for the goal, he was a lot better on the right hand side. I think you just see he's a right back. He's done an okay job covering at left back, but I mean even Martinez, who's not a left back, I thought was as good or better than him on the left hand side. And yeah, I thought at times we pressed really well, and at times we were a bit disconnected. I thought we pressed better as a team in the second half, which I think showed with the goals. I think it was the second goal was the recovery from Martinez quite high up the pitch, wasn't it? Um,
yeah.
yeah, I thought generally there were a lot of positives. I thought we could have scored more goals. I thought Rashford's had a lot of criticism over the last year or so for the work rate he puts in, but I think we saw yesterday what he can do in terms
Mm.
of work rate, and I think that's got to be the baseline for him. If he works that hard every game, then his performances are going to be better and he's not going to be getting the sort of flack even when he does have a bad performance because at least he's putting the effort in and he's putting the tackles in where when they're needed and he's helping track back to support Delo. I thought, yeah,
He looks
general,
rejuvenated, actually, doesn't he? He, he,
yeah,
look, he looks like a completely different player to last season.
yeah. I thought generally we weren't as patient in attack as we could have been. I think
Yeah,
there were lots and lots of shots from like the edge of the box or just outside the box. I think Casemiro had three or four. Bruno had a couple. I think Garnacho had three or four. Rashford did as well. So, I mean, you're looking at that and thinking, can they be a little bit more patient? Can they try and create something? I thought, ironically, in the first half, Bruno was more patient and better on the ball, but then in the second half, he kind of went back to trying to play the Hollywood passes a little bit. And I know he got the assist with that flick, but again, I'd like to see him look after the ball a bit better still. Garnacho, yeah, I thought best player on the pitch when he got the ball. He looked dangerous. The only thing I'd say about his performance was he was very obsessed with shooting every time he got the ball, I felt. And there were probably times when he could have played a cut back or he could have put a cross in when he shot and it went wide or the goalie had an easy save at the near post. So I think that was the only thing I'd say about Garnacho's performance. But just generally, the effort, the confidence. I thought Hoyland held the ball up really well as well, especially in the second half, which is something that he's been criticised for before. And obviously, he took his goal really well. So yeah, just generally, I think there's some positive shoots there, and I think it's something to build on. I think if we play like that more often than not, then we'll get a lot of results.
yeah, no, I agree. I think Rasmus Hoyland also showed he's definitely the starting number 9 for me. I think he was Xerxes really does offer something else, but I just think Hoyland looks so dangerous. And actually, I felt like a goal was coming from Hoyland all game.
Yeah,
Um, and I think you're right about the lack of patience because I think there's a few moments we definitely could have got a little bit more out of it. But actually, I think Rashford. It's like, do you know what? I was watching yesterday and I was thinking, there's a bit of a change in his game now. Like I felt like he was actively looking for the players. Um, you're right. He was pressing a lot more. I thought positionally he was better. Um, if he can keep building from this, I can see why Ten Hag's been sticking with him. But I still can't get my head around that long term.
I
For
I
Ahmed,
actually think playing from the right helped him in terms of bringing that variety a bit more to his game because when he's on the left, he just wants to cut in and shoot. Whereas
yeah,
on the right, if he cuts in, he's on his left foot and he can't shoot. So he was finding more players. He was putting more crosses in. He was finding a bit more space as well. So and the other thing that you've always got to remember is when you're a winger and you've got a a fullback who is going to go past you, who's going to overlap, that automatically gives you more space. And both him and Garnacho have been playing on the left all season, and they've not had a proper left back who's going to overlap. So immediately they've struggled to find space there. So I think that having Dallo there and having him get past them and also support them, I think has made a big difference there.
yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, my big thing was, you know, you look at Ahmed's stats the season, and he's probably the best winger out of the three of them. And for him to be on the
Yeah.
bench was a bit disappointing. But I do feel like Ten Hag got, he got it right. I think he put a team together. He kind of had to, didn't he? I was a bit nervous watching Casemiro start again, but actually he was all right. I thought he did some quite quite forward thinking kind of cutting passes to them or through them, sorry, and gave them a bit of a challenge. But
I thought
once we got into the second half, I didn't really feel like they had a chance. I feel like it was always moving in our direction. If anything, I was probably a little bit disappointed not to get um, a little bit more out of the game, we could get another goal. We had 67% possession
in the second half.
in the whole game.
I thought it was about 50 from the
You
stats I
know,
saw.
looking at it here, 67% possession.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we just, well, I said to you before their goal that we're playing well and just needed to get on the score sheet. And I think we could have had a goal in the first half and we could have had an extra goal in the second half. I think Xerxes had an opportunity where when it came to him right in the middle of the box, clear and free, and he just didn't get a foot on it. But yeah, uh, generally it was a good performance. I'm happy with it, and yeah, just want to see us build on it now. We've got Fenerbahce away in the week, and then we're away at West Ham next weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting. We actually only 4 shots on target to their 7.
Are you sure you're reading the right?
I don't know.
Because I thought we had 20 shots with 8 on target from the stats I
I
read
did think we had more.
yesterday.
Maybe
Hey?
this is wrong. It's just the ones on Google I'm looking at today.
Yeah.
I'll leave them if you think they're wrong. See if we do it again. No, just play the
Match
video.
stats. So possession, Man United 50.4, Brentford 49.6. Shots, Man United 23, Brentford 8. Shots on target 11, Brentford 2. And touches in the opposition box, we had 35, they had 14.
When you read them, it doesn't come up right. It's not what's coming up on mine. They're all wrong then.
Yeah, well, that's on
Oh, you
on
know what?
BBC.
Should have just done it on fantasy football.
Yeah.
That's always right. No, but I think following on from the Villa game, which was a good performance. I think we were quite lucky, weren't we, that Villa looked like they were struggling from their extra midweek challenge. So they maybe weren't as feisty as they were, but actually, fair play to Ten Hag and the team. I felt they managed to stop what Villa do.
Well, yeah. I mean, talk about the Villa game because we didn't get a chance to do a pod after that. But I only saw the first half, but it looked to me like we were in survival mode. It's it was a case that Ten Hag's looked at the game and said, you know what, let's just not lose this. And I completely understand it. And we do need to be more solid in those bigger games and just get out of this habit of losing games, especially the big ones that we've lost 3-0 like Liverpool and Spurs. We can't keep repeating that situation. And Fergie did it at times. I remember playing John O'Shea in centre midfield. I remember one particular, I think it was a European quarter-final against Arsenal when we played Raphael on the right wing and Fabio on the left wing and John O'Shea in centre mid with Scholesy, I think. And it was, but we got out of that game, defended I think a 1-0 first leg lead, and the rest is history. I mean, you don't necessarily particularly focus on that defensive performance. So overall, I mean, you look at, was it 2008 European semi-final against Barcelona? We won a two-legged tie 1-0. We didn't concede against the likes of Messi and probably not Neymar, but Messi, Ronaldinho over 2 legs. And you need to be able to defend in those big games against the good teams. I think what you said about Aston Villa looking weary after their midweek exertions is something that we're going to see quite a bit this season, because I don't think they have a particularly strong squad. This is their first season in Europe, and they're in the Champions League, which is different to playing the Europa League or the Conference League anyway. I think they're probably going to struggle a bit more as we get further into the season, just because of the the extra games that they're not used to, and the actual standard of those games.
Yeah, no, I agree. Be interesting to see how it kind of plays out for the rest of the season. I think with them as well. And actually, there's an opportunity for us there. But I was just actually looking then. Yeah, that win's moved us up into 10th.
Yeah, but
It's actually a bit hard to say.
we've dropped down to 11th actually after Bournemouth's win over Arsenal last night.
That was great.
I
Funny
mean,
actually. Now you
the only
mention it, I've not had one Arsenal fan message me today. Not one. They've all gone quiet.
funny that.
Yeah, very funny indeed. But
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm kind of not an Arsenal fan this season, but kind of half supporting Arsenal, because if I have to choose out of City, Liverpool, and Arsenal to win the league, I think it's got to be Arsenal every time.
that's it. You're fired. Can't be having quotes like that. Oh God. No, I must say, I think I kind of agree in the sense that it would just be nice to have a new winner. I don't think anyone wants to see City do it again, really.
No, what are they? 6 out of 7, and this will be 4 in a row if they do it this season. Which is, yeah, not ideal. Pretty fed up with City, to be honest, and
Four in a row is a mental stat as well to have. I don't think that'll ever be beaten again.
no, but
That in itself was a separate bit of disappointment.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah. Oh, it's tough. I Do we know Do you know what's going on with the injuries at all?
So Cobby's probably going to be out until after the next international break. Maguire's going to be out for a few weeks as well. Malacia's back in first team training, I think. I think Mount is going to be back in the next week or two, providing there's no further injuries. I don't think Shaw's going to be back until probably next international break. So yeah, I mean, generally, I think we've got a pretty good squad. The only glaring thing is the left back issue, but
Mm.
Johnny Evans' performances at centre back make it possible, I think, for us to play Martinez at left back. So
God, don't like anything about that sentence. Don't like anything about that sentence at all.
no, it's not
They
ideal, but
they must be thinking they've absolutely blown it.
yeah, I mean they've messed that up, haven't they? But there is talk about having a buyback clause for Alvaro Fernandez and potentially activating that in the winter transfer window.
I heard about this actually. I mean, it makes the whole decision about letting him go seem absolutely crazy.
Well, the thing is, they made that decision 18 months ago because they loaned him to Benfica with it was either an option or obligation to buy. So we didn't have the option this summer to say no. The it it basically was, yeah, had to go through this summer, whether we liked it or not. But the fact that we've got that buyback clause does kind of mitigate it a little bit. Apparently, Barcelona and Real Madrid are being linked with him, so you'd say he's probably looks like an all right player then.
Why he was let go in the first place is beyond me. But we've had a few of these. Do you remember that Iqbal Zidane guy, Zidane Iqbal?
Yeah.
He I need to have a look at him, but he looked like such a promising talent. Let me look now. Hold on. I'm actually going to do it on my phone because it's easier to lean forward. Zidane. Oh, it comes up straight away.
Didn't he go to a championship side for like 500 grand or something?
And he went to FC Utrecht, which I've not heard of. I mean, the first article I see is Man United ace was creating as much hype as Pogba was, and then Eric Ten Hag sold him for 857k.
Yeah,
That's the first article that comes up.
yeah,
But to be honest with you, interesting. He's actually only played for a few times, and then it talks about the fact that he could return. So actually, it doesn't look that exciting, but
no,
you do feel there's some promising talents. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, Jack Fletcher was on the bench.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch. I knew he wasn't going to play. I felt they're just kind of building him into that kind of match day process, aren't they? And actually,
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Collier because I don't think he was on the bench, was he? Has he got an injury or did they give him some
do you
game
know
time with
what?
the reserves?
I haven't seen Collier on the bench the last couple of weeks. Should we have a look see if there's any news about him? Because to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a slow thing with him anyway.
Hmm.
Probably, yeah. There we go. He already signed a new deal this summer. Yeah, there's nothing really. There's nothing on it that's that exciting, to be honest with you. I think
No,
it's just I think it's just about growing him into the team.
no, fair enough. But yeah. So
Nothing.
obviously decided to keep Ten Hag on, which I think we were
Yeah.
both in favour of. Were you expecting that after the draws against what was it? Porto and then Villa?
I think if I'm honest, I thought it was going to go. I did think he was as good as gone. Um, I think I'd seen other people saying it, and his head's been called for. I didn't see how he got through this period without a loss so far. And, actually, he hasn't lost, which I think is important. We are sitting in 10th and yet to be dropped to 11th. So I would say the job he's done has not been good enough. The results have not come. I think I personally was in favour of keeping him. I don't think changing him. We know Van Nistelrooy is going to be taking over. I'd say I'm not against that happening at this stage, but it doesn't mean a massive change. I would prefer not to pay the whatever it is, 17 or 18 million that it will cost to remove him. And actually, the Brentford game was a clear indicator of kind of what we've been saying all season, that there is good progress within the team. I think, as a club, as a manager, he needs to look at, rightly that you pointed out with Sir Alex Ferguson, the changes he needed to make against the big teams, rather than, he tried to go for Liverpool, didn't he? And got shown up. They're a well-established team. Actually, you look at them the way Mourinho did it as well. Like, he would always play a little bit more defensive against the good teams and have a little bit more of a counter attack. I'm not saying we should play like that, but I think we need to be more adaptive if we're going to keep Ten Hag. It's one of the reasons we got him. He's fantastic at setting up a team to play a certain other team and fight against the way they play. And hopefully he has learnt that now, because I think if we have another big game and a big defeat, I am going to even be starting to think Ten Hag out, because we can't have him coming up against these big teams and putting up a poor performance. And then, we do look at it, and it is the players sometimes not being as up for it. And that was killer when Ericsson pointed that out. earlier in the season. But that starts the manager, doesn't it? He should be getting them up for it. He should be setting them up in a way that we shouldn't be losing, quite frankly. And we shouldn't be losing these big margins. Casemiro had a shocker against Liverpool, but could
the way we set up in that game with the fullbacks bombing on, playing that sort of 3-1-6 formation, when you
yeah,
know that Liverpool press high and when they recover
yeah,
the ball, they are ruthless. And you've got to keep that little bit of cover there. You've got to give Casemiro those options when he's dropping in. And
but he was just in the middle by himself, wasn't he? The
yeah,
whole game.
you've got to adapt to what the opposition do, what their strengths are. You minimize their strengths, you try to maximize your strengths. But yeah, putting Casemiro in that position, and which is not necessarily his strength, controlling the ball under pressure and picking out a pass. And you got a Liverpool team that are ruthless. Like, yeah, it just seemed crazy the way they set that game up. But
And Ten
yeah,
Hag needs to be seriously looking at this if he's going to stay on. Because I think for me, either way, it'd be interesting to hear what you say on this. I think he's got until Christmas for me, and I think by Christmas we have to be in the top six. I think that's for me. Where now we're down in 10th. I think there's no question in my mind. That's the area of expectation for me now, and I think underperforming this season has given me that expectation because everyone's talking about us being in the top four. I even, if you remember, felt like that was a big ask, but actually looking at it now and the way the rest of the league's playing, I think we've got to be in the top six.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's we need to be in the top four, but we're not going to be there this season, especially after
No,
this start. I mean, you've got a lot of
no
teams that are
chance we're in
very
top
strong.
four. Yeah, no
I think
chance.
if we can make top six and win a trophy, then I think that's a reasonable season. Um, if we win the Europa League and make top six, then that's a good season.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think the Chelsea game is going to be a litmus test as to the players' commitment to him and to whether he's learned from the early season mistakes tactically. I think another 3-0 home defeat by Chelsea this time is going to be really damaging. So I think we've got to beat Chelsea at home. We've got to put in a decent performance. I think the way the players played yesterday, I don't think you can fault any of their commitment and effort, which
yeah,
suggests they're on his side. Maybe Ineos have spoken to them and said, look, he's not going anywhere. You guys need to put the effort in. Otherwise, we'll know who's going at the end of the season. Yeah, maybe they've said that, maybe they haven't, but yeah, I think if the players can keep fighting for it, then we might see a good season. If they revert back to type, then yeah, there's going to be some problems.
oh, Trinity, I'm just pleased the football's back. This whole international break is,
Hate the international breaks.
yeah, I know. It's, I can't believe Tuchel's now manager.
Yeah, I mean, bit of a relief that he's not getting linked to the United job anymore, to be
Yeah,
honest.
no, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I mean,
So he's off
I,
the table.
yeah, I don't know why everyone's talking about the guy who's the first Bayern manager in 11 years not to win the Bundesliga. I don't think that's exactly a ringing endorsement.
I
Although,
actually think he'll be great for the England job. I think he has got that pedigree. Um, he has done quite well in tournament football at club level, if I'm
yeah,
honest. And I think with the defensive options we have and the way he likes to play, I do think that kind of marries up because I mean, if we can play defensively how he likes to set up, and then get the attacking game
Does he like
forward
to set
through
up
it.
with a back three and wing backs?
Yes, that's one
Yeah.
of the
I think that'll suit England quite well because
yeah
well, the only problem England have again is the left back situation because you got Shaw and Chilwell who are always injured, and they've not got an awful lot behind that. Um, but yeah, I think you look at the wing backs that we've got on the right. If you've got a Trent there without as much defensive vulnerability because you got a right centre back behind who can cover that area, I think that plays into his hands. And if you've got the width being provided by more attacking wing backs, then I think you can fit that extra playmaker in, can't you, in the centre? So yeah, it'd be interesting. Or play with two up top with a Watkins and Kane, and that allows Kane to drop in while Watkins can stretch in behind.
yeah, and I think Tuchel will be a lot more adaptive than Southgate. You
Oh
know,
yeah, definitely.
you've seen them at club level make those ruthless decisions. You know, I think a prime example for me was when Foden was underperforming in the first two games. I think he would have just dropped him for a game, tried
Yeah.
something different, brought Palmer in. Um, you know, and I think Tuchel's not worried to make those decisions. You know, it'd be interesting to see how he builds from the Gareth Southgate era of come play for me, we're a team, to right, you're underperforming, you're off, he's on, and I think Tuchel's going to be a little bit more ruthless, but the camp should be in that position, so that'd be interesting. But I think linking it back to what we're talking about today, he's not linked to United job anymore. So
What do you make of everyone saying, "Oh, we don't want a German to manage England," and all of that?
I don't. I mean, I'd love a German to manage England, and I'd love his name to be Jurgen Klopp. I think
That's
I
true.
think out of all the managers in the market, Jurgen to me feels like the most suitable manager for England. I mean,
Yeah,
with that level of quality that we've got in the team, the fact that Trent's already there, effectively, Palmer could be his Mo Salah. Uh, you know,
yeah.
he, saying
Or Saka. Saka
or
can do
Saka.
that.
Yeah, I realised that after the
But you're
second one.
right. There wouldn't have been any complaints if it had been Klopp.
No,
Absolutely
no,
not.
that
I yeah, I think you're right there, but there's different perception to the type of person Klopp is to
I
Tuchel, and
think right now,
I understand
right,
why Tuchel's not as popular, and I think the media are probably giving the
oh, it's the
giving the
media.
German thing a bit of a push. I mean, it's
It's
kind of
always
similar to though. I mean, international football, who are England's biggest rivals? You'd probably say Germany, wouldn't you?
yeah,
So it's equivalent to us taking a Liverpool player and making him Man United boss.
yeah. I just think to be honest, at that level, it doesn't really matter. And Tuchel as well. He's managed big teams in different countries, PSG, Chelsea, Bayern. Just I think focusing on those three. You know, he's come in and he's got a job he wants to do. He is a manager that has, he's got one of these attitudes, isn't he? Like the Contes, like the Mourinho's, and he is someone who's all about winning and winning by
Yeah,
any means possible. And I think he's come there to win. I think he's looked and thought, this is the best team in the world. I could win the World Cup and be massive in football forever.
yeah,
He's got a Champions League. If he then goes and wins a World Cup with England, he will be remembered as one of the best managers in the world. And that, I think, is the reason he's there. And I think why anyone right now would want to take that job. To be honest with you, I really thought the FA were going to go for Pep because Jurgen Klopp's clearly taken that job. I think he's only interested in the Germany job as well.
Yeah.
Pep, I thought they were going to line him up for next summer, and Lee Carsley was going to get a year, but they've obviously made the decision they want someone to start building now for the World Cup, and to see whether they've gone for Tuchel. I think I think Jurgen Klopp's not available, quite frankly. I think Pep's too long to wait for. Tuchel's the big manager that's out there now, and there's no one who's English who's got that pedigree for me. And
No.
actually, for the next World Cup, I'm sorry, we just need someone with the tactical know-how and the pedigree to take England over that line. Because right now, I think England will get second in the next tournament without a manager. So
Yeah.
with Tuchel, I expect to win it.
Yeah. No, agreed. So next up, Fenerbahce on Thursday, I
Yeah.
guess, is it? How are you feeling about that game?
You know what? I think we can say whatever. They're a good team. I think, the way they're going to be playing this season is going to be very tough for us. I could see it being a 0-0, but I think with the way we've been developing, and well, it's Man United anyway. I think and where we are in the table, it's just a must win. You know, probably going to go 1-0 United. I think, if I'm honest. What about yourself?
So I think it's going to be a tough place to go, but we know what Mourinho teams are like. They're difficult to break down. They're
Yeah,
quite defensive and they don't press.
yeah,
And I think our biggest problems come when we come up against teams that are good and well drilled at pressing. So
fair enough.
I am quite optimistic. I do get that it's a difficult place to come, and if they score early and then shut up shop, I think we'll find it very difficult. But if we can get that early goal, then I think there's a game to be won there. And yeah, if we can put in the sort of performance that we put in yesterday, I think we did look solid at the back with De Ligt and Evans there, and Martinez and Dalot. So I think, yeah, I'm optimistic. I think we can win that game. Um, I I don't think that the way Mourinho plays is going to be, the most challenging for us. The only thing is going to be breaking them down if they get that goal lead.
Yeah, no, I think that's sort of. I think the clean sheet for us at that game is as important for me as winning it, because I think this is the kind of team now we've got to shut out. Because I did actually have a look at the team this week, and okay, I did a higher level kind of overview. Like, I didn't go into the weeds of it all. But the long and the short of it is, I looked at a team that shouldn't really stack up against Man United and shouldn't be too threatening. It is a Mourinho team. I'm sure they will be, but I think I really want to see. I really want to see that clean sheet, another good performance from Onana. I'm up for seeing Bienda have a start. Actually, I wouldn't mind a
I
few of the
don't think
players.
he'll I don't think he'll start
I don't think he will. No,
in Europa League games. I think he'll get a start in
in the
the
League
Carabao
Cup,
Cup.
yeah, the Carabao Cup.
Um,
But no, I'm saying I'd like to see him start. I think it'll be Onana though, and I think all the more reason Onana needs to put in another good performance. I think he's
mm,
done well this season. Actually, do you know what? All in all, I still feel a bit nervous, and we've talked about this before. But he's got those Barthez vibes about him. I
yeah.
just think he's been good. He's
Yeah,
looked like the player we thought we were buying.
there's been a couple of goals that he could have done better with, but I think we knew we were what we were getting when we bought him, and we wanted to focus more on the playing out from the back. I mean, the people who talk about David De Gea and and everything, and all his shot stopping ability. They seem to forget that the last 2 years he was with us, he made a lot of mistakes and conceded quite a lot of goals. In the games when he did concede. So he got the Golden Glove in his last season, but the games that he conceded in, we conceded quite a lot, and he made some bad mistakes there. I mean, you look at the 7-0 against Liverpool, they had 8 shots on target, so he made 1 save from 8. It's
I remember that game though, and our defence was poor. I don't know what else he could have done there as well. I think on the
yeah,
flip side, but I do agree with you. I think if we're looking back at the Brentford game, there was so often. I think it was Delo was actually backtracking down the right side, and he did this big pass, and obviously Anana was almost up by the halfway line, and you know David De Gea was never going to be there, was it? He'd
yeah,
be much closer to his goal, and actually then the ball I think got pinged right down onto the left wing and onto the nose of Garnacho, Rashford, whoever there at the time. So
yeah.
um, I am starting to see that come through in this confidence building, but yeah, worrying. Hopefully, if we get a few more of these injuries coming back as well over the next few weeks, as we're expecting, we can build forward. But I have realised, unfortunately, I don't know how I've managed to do it again, but I am actually going to be on a train during the next game. It's really not working out for me this season. I've never normally missed a minute, and I've missed many minutes this year. It's ridiculous. But I am actually on a train back to Rutland, so I will be watching it, but it will be cutting out. Um,
All right.
which I'm very much looking forward to, I guess, to happen again. So,
Yeah,
yeah, look, another big game. Got to keep just pushing forward.
yeah, that's
Hopefully, the
it.
starts
We've
comes
just got
good.
to start to build some momentum. I think that's going to be the key momentum and confidence. I think we've got 2 clean sheets in a row. If we can get another one midweek, then I think that's going to be building confidence again as well. Yeah, so I mean, big couple of games away at Fenerbahce and away at West Ham. Although West Ham had a bit of a shocker against Spurs this weekend, so it'll be yeah, fingers crossed we can get over the line in both of those. And then I think you'll start to see a different team if we can start to get 3, 4 wins in a row. Then there'll be a different level of confidence there. But yeah. Anyway, so should we call that then?
Yeah, no, good hustle. I'm excited about the next one. I'll be
Yeah.
able to speak to you. We'll be able to do right after the game though, so I should be home. I should be home, I think, by the time the game's just finished. so,
Okay, cool.
so we'll get to
Good
chat
stuff.
about it then. But yeah, thank you for you few people who are watching us at the moment. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
If you haven't already, then please hit like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll be back with you later in the week.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time,
Cheers.
Harry.
Yeah, you too. So.